Mama at the four as we be our brother, amen.
Oh, amen.
A busy chance in the album pie. There are 2 for and I'm a paying so my about and 5 on this ability and a pay. Casa or Mahon for our poor Casa. My mark and I bet him they were some I do. No, you should be amen.
Amen.
Sissy, Nadu, why Sam Nayawo Iradi Amen. And I pay my Thomas the mystery of walking alone, and I said the mystery of isolation, the mystery of walking alone, and I said the mystery of isolation. Sir, don't come Nante, and I say, who you see baby, and I say, ye you are and they are my amen. Now, many people are afraid to walk alone, but greater peoples walk alone. Amen.
Wow.
In the Bible, so say, Omumpe, 2 and more, amen. But will be better, obey ye piano, as I say, no, they walk alone. Amen. Now, say, over walking alone, idea, amen. But when you find your way out, things become easy for you. So when there is nobody, it is easy for you to walk alone because you have been walking alone. Amen.
Oh yes, amen.
And then you hear the womb. Amen. You now you per se group you tell you. You now per se the Nako Pamakache that is soon. Wakache and we assume what they have to Akumasono. The percent getting a bin on the bed. If you been a Nanka headache, Nanka you. Amen. And also, I mean, Papa so I know we whom that's our Bible. Amen. So the first person for God to call was Abraham. Amen.
Amen.
Nipa I didn't come friend in a example. I did in nature Abraham. Amen.
Amen.
So in Genesis chapter 12 verse number 1.
This is chapter 12
verse number 1.
We say medical and it's a do me I said, never catch Abraham say.
Never catch Abraham say.
Would you free was us so?
Free was us a day.
So. Never bushiam.
And no bushiam.
No way the fee.
Anywhere the fee.
Quas I see a make.
Quas I see a natural. Amen. So God called Abraham for a specific purpose. Amen. And before sending a purpose in the Bible, he took Abraham out. Amen. Or isolated Abraham. Said by Abraham. And Sana, the Botaya 180 me.
Oh yes.
Amen. And boy, I didn't know what Lot to put the actually quiet. And some see until Saint Lot departed, and it became only Abraham and God. And son Abraham ate me else, but I am until free and the feeling the year. Amen. So when God calls you, immediately he takes you out of your comfort zone. Because Abraham, none papa. Tara no is Kenny. Amen. But Abraham free, no papa no hear you. Now for Fuku can or continuing. Amen. This guy was already living in his comfort zone. But when God called him and he received the call and said, leave everything behind. Amen. So if you want to become a great person, if you want to fulfill your dream, sometimes you have to let go of what is hindering you. Amen. You have to let go of your comfort zone before your dream is going to come to pass. Amen. When you look into the Bible, everyone God called. David God called. This guy was isolation. And got for 14 good years. Amen. You feel Joseph, and also near you, also, and no, parties of fear, 2 of years. Amen. And Jesus crumbled by from 12 years. Okay, look at chapter 12 now. From 12 years, no, Elkono. Until up to 30 years. I didn't hear. Because in the place of isolation, that is where you find strength. In the place of isolation, that is where growth happens. Wow. In the place of isolation, that is where you find your weakness. Amen. And when God calls you up, He gives you a certain mission. And I want to know, and if I didn't know the amount, I was so young, what didn't be there. You must have the full capacity. So in order to take that capacity out, I was exempt for training.
Okay.
And you cannot follow God and always living a comfortable life. And you will suffer as I will suffer.
You suffer, yes.
Amen.
Amen.
And First John say, and after that you have suffered for a while. Now say a break a clear. Amen. And for you to have peace, for you to have for you to live a happy life in this earth, you must have this understanding. So when God calls you, He's going to isolate you for your own good. Amen. Because one night at the end, and probably a person in the piano, then for me as I'm telling, it didn't have that see. And so, I can find my mind. Say, you saw your hina, into your hina. You want to just special idea. The demo. And the year in 4 beer or Henneke, a head the yin is in chain, near the 10. Amen. And the uncle pong open or fall, said Blana Bay to beer. But be was in chain or walk to school, and Sana at the corner of the other day. But the amount, amen. And the kind of say Christopher one tear say be said, Yabe is Monday. I will say everything must go on piano as a lie, amen. And Tessa, because He called you for greater things, and maybe the greater things He called you, you don't have the experience, amen. So you have to be exempted. I was saying you didn't need not. Yes, you. No sooner, dear. The children at the corner show and sir. At the corner, one failure. Amen. God does not call you to be a failure. And flaws about the failure. He calls you and He gives you a certain mission. But for the mission to be accomplished, you have to go to. I know amen. If we say at the end, it's going to be for your own good. Amen. When you will share about it. I'm not a mumu. Auntie.
So mau.
Auntie of flower, you begin to train you. Of flower, after as you bring in the idea, not first. I was at we sign money in the Amen.
Amen.
I was so see you, Auntie. I did one mananka, Nimun, like any day. Wow, the baby was in a home flame in Frenimun, not the most as I recalling a day. What, and Tina was at with that side couldn't be a day. That's all. And you are the Siomuno at the Nini a day. Ever. One man, a friend said, oh, Monday is getting about to Nim's castle. To be very living in any part, come up one, no hotel. No hotel or from Baba Buano, a very blue, no, flower, but